From studio.
Good evening, good evening, people. How you all doing? We
Hello,
are
my
here
friend.
again.
Hello.
I hope you guys have a real Merry Christmas. We're here this evening again with our panel. I think they did a fantastic job last week. People are busy doing all sort of stuff, so we decided. I can see how it play out on YouTube, and I think that's a call for a part two. So we are
Mm.
here with our panel from last week. I'm just gonna get into it by introducing the panel, which we have. We are looking at the screen. I don't even know what angle you guys are looking at from, but we have Chris Duran, who have over 20 years of experience in law enforcement at a federal
Hi,
level.
Chris.
We have at the top there, no, to the side, we have Dr. Rupert Francis, who is a military man and have is years of law enforcement as well. We have also my co-host and unfortunately, my friend, Carla the Charmer, who herself have uh, over 30 years law enforcement under our belt as well. But it's the end of the year, and we're just here to talk about various things. Of course, we want to talk about maybe a little about what went on during the course of this year, and of course, what is the plan for next year. We also have a clip from that I got from Jamaica, where some guy went down to Jamaica, brave guy went down to Jamaica and interviewed some guys um, that classify themselves as bad man. I guess we're gonna do the postmortem and that video to see what we could come up with. How did they get there? So, and before I start, I just want to ask you guys to please like and share and also subscribe to at Sutherland TV on YouTube, and send us the friend request on Facebook as well. We're streaming on our three pages: Dennis Sutherland Facebook, and the Meds Facebook, and YouTube at Sutherland TV. Good evening, gentlemen. Chris, how you doing?
Good evening. Good evening.
Well,
How
thank
are
you.
you?
Thank you very much.
Uh,
Thanks for having me
Chama.
again.
All right,
Yeah.
all right, all right. Chama, how you doing?
Fantastic.
Oh, great, great. I don't know what makes you so happy. You've been happy all day, all week. You've just been going crazy. But we wanna start by
You didn't ask Dr. Francis.
I did. I didn't. You see,
No?
Dr.
No.
Francis is always giving trouble. Dr.
No,
Francis.
no, 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 no. Well, I was going to just sing a little song. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. Happy and you know it, clap your hands. And so on and so forth. All right. I just want to let
Yeah.
you know that. So
You see that?
it's
But
good to
but
be
Dr.
here.
Francis, you noticed that I was the only one that followed, right?
No, it's all right. No, no, no. I
Uh,
The
didn't
other two
expect.
rebels chose not
No,
to clap their hands, but
no, no, no. Hold on. I'm going to defend Chris because he didn't
he's not
defend
a
me
hand
today, but
clapper.
no, 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 no. He was very busy today. Very busy.
okay, okay, okay,
I'm
okay,
very
okay.
That's
surprised
my
to see him.
excuse. Eh?
I,
No, no.
I I know you guys have.
So
I
he's too
spoke to.
tired to clap his hands.
Well, he was busy over the Christmas holiday as well. He had quite a few events that the weekend that he had gone to. He didn't even have time to talk to me, but I was a little bit emotional about him ignoring me. But I get over it, you
Oh.
know. I spoke to Dr. Francis and get over it. So,
Oh, okay.
guys,
It's good. It's just that, believe you me. Anyway, that's another matter. I'll explain another time. But Chris knows. But it's a rough time for us because,
Difficult.
in the sense that we're here, but a good time because we're here. And one of the things I like about what you just said is that we can look at things and we can evaluate it and we go forward to next year and see how we can improve things. So for that purpose, I'm happy I'm here with you both, all of you.
yes, yes, sir, yes, sir. It is indeed a crazy year. Not just in Jamaica, across the world. We have some real bad flooding, and we have quite a few wars, people dying, just a bunch of stuff that's happening. But because we are all Jamaicans and Jamaican base, and we're caring and concerning when it comes out to Jamaica, I think we're gonna just focus on the issues and not just the issues, because a lot of people don't like when we just talk about the negative things. But I don't mind talking about it if we're seeking, if we're pursuing a solution.
Yeah.
So you got to be in the know. You have to have the knowledge, and that's how I talk about the negative. But I talk about it with a purpose to solve. But anyways, Dr. Francis, let me just start with you. What's on your mind?
Well, honestly, a little sleep would help. Been very tired.
Amen.
Yeah, very tired, and I wish I had a computer that was working right now. So, but it's that time of the year, so I'm gonna give thanks. I'm gonna give thanks for small
Blessing.
mercies, and I'm gonna say that I look forward to a great new year, and hopefully we'll be able to do great things for other people.
Yes. What's on your mind, Chama?
I'm excited about the upcoming year. A lot of great things are happening, business wise, personal wise, and I am truly looking forward to expand what we have going on in Irons Mountain. So I'm really excited about that. I would love to take on another school, and God willing, if everything goes the way that I anticipate it going, we will be able to take on another school. So
Oh,
I'm
most
really excited
definitely.
about that.
I'm looking
Mhm.
forward to that too. Chris, is there anything on your mind that you really want us to dive into before we get to because we're not here for too long, and I
Yeah,
know
that's right.
we're
We're for
yes.
a short time, right? 30 minutes or so,
Mhm.
right? So no, just basically, hoping that 2024 brings some improvement on some of the things we've been working on, trying to achieve, and that obviously we're always looking for it to be better than 23, finishing up this year, and looking forward to some progress, let's
Yeah,
say, in some of these endeavors that are being made with solutions to crime situation in Jamaica, whatever that might be. Any small step would be appreciated, really. So
I
that's what I'm looking at.
most definitely, I share the same sentiment. I wish right now, Carla and I we focus on the kids, but the truth is, I would want to wet my foot a little in any way, a shape that I could do something about the violence. And I just say I would talk about that. I'm gonna play a video clip from something that I saw come out of Jamaica the other day. So just give me a minute. Let me just play this and we'll see how we can deal with this.
Okay.
All right.
The reason I put lead generation on a license plate of a Lamborghini because it's still today, since 2019 when I got this.
Duties. He had every reason to be present, but an unfortunate incident unfolded. The police officers handled him with unnecessary
I
force,
am having
causing great distress.
actually that was the not the I don't know what's going on. I think there is something that went over the video that is preventing it from play. I'm seeing other videos, but I'm not seeing the one that I have here. Actually, the caption is on it, but I don't know. But anyways, it was a video that came out of Jamaica with some guys that I'm gonna try to do it again. But this guy went to Jamaica to do an interview on some of the guys that we call bad man down there. We want to talk a little bit about that because what they're saying is that the government is what's pushing them into doing this crime. I don't know if there's any truth to it. I don't know if it's a government or a politician contributing to it, or it's just the economical crisis, or even the modern technology that we embrace in Jamaica. I don't know, and I'm not saying modern technology is a bad thing. What I'm saying is that we take this thing on, and we were not prepared with the things that comes with it. So it enhanced, in my opinion, it enhanced the crime a little bit too. Where they're utilizing the technology to do all these scamming and all the things that they're doing, and of course use the money to source their weapon as well. We would have heard many stories of where they get all these find all these guns at the wharf, coming in, and of course even some coming to 80 as well. So I don't know if some people say it's politicians, some say it's not. What is your take on that, Dr. Francis? The guns going into the country and causing all this the things that happening down.
Well, I was hoping that you'd ask Chris first.
And that's fine. I'll answer first if you want me to. Hey, so listen, guys. My view of this situation you mentioned in particular, anything involving, high-powered weapons entering the country, is a serious detriment to the society, right? And it should be considered a national security priority, right? It's like terrorism. Every country considers terrorism a national security priority. It is number one. It is given all their resources, it is given all their attention, and so on. And in fact, they will even amend laws and their constitution to address the situation because it is that important, right? So I see the same thing for Jamaica when it comes to these weapons that they've discovered, because it's a small place like Jamaica, and they're already plagued by problems, that are exacerbated by high-powered weapons. So that is something that I believe the government should take more seriously and give it the proper attention that it requires. I mean, shut down that place, man. And find those weapons and get to the bottom of it. Again,
what they're doing is let me just play the script. I don't know if you guys hearing it. I'm having some technical issues.
I'll be dead.
Let me just play this first.
Are you happy to do this for the rest of your life?
Till I'm dead. Nah, stop doing it. I have a kill 100 and add more going on.
That's crazy, bro.
Yeah, man, from road me at 12, me stop a boy in the neck, man. One stop kill him. And this person about 18 me kill.
What was that over?
Him every day and see me, he take bully me and them something there, thump me up. I say one day more soul here. I'm gonna stop walk with the knife till stab him.
Wow, that sounds a little bit too graphic. Let me just listen to this guy a little bit.
Want to look at spinners, can want to look at 250 and 300,000 and get one look at spinners. That's how most man get done to. They come in here and see man like we, they can support the thing, them buy real 5, 6, 7 gun, 8 gun. So we are saying, yeah, this is money I done, Because remember, you have spent the thing, We don't have the powers, we don't have the money. So you have the money, you have the power, so we are going to get done shit. Because you have the money for strengthening the thing. Go, God.
And I think that's just disturbing that's just very disturbing to listen to. It is disturbing. So they're saying, people distributing weapons down there. Sometimes it's coming from some guys that they want to gain downship. So as you were saying, Chris, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I was having some technical difficulties with this thing.
That's fine, and I'm glad you found the clip, and because it was important to hear what's going on, that conversation there. Yeah, man. But anyways, as I was saying, back to the discussion concerning the discovery of these weapons entering the country. It should be a national priority issue, man, and it should all hands on deck, as they would say, right?
Yeah, definitely.
To deal with that issue, and even down to the part where you have to change laws and amend the constitution to manage it. It should be considered like a terrorist act, because it is indeed that important. Because the number of people, guys, being killed by guns in Jamaica, you look at the amount, is tantamount to the effects of terrorism. The amount of people. So look at it that way. So so fine, it happens over a year as opposed to an incident or so that may occur in a day, any other place. Still, it's loss of life. All right, and what is the thing we have most to lose, but your life, right? I mean, you think about it. It should be a highest priority. That's just my take on that.
Yeah, almost definitely.
Question: if what is the who are the victims here? Are the victims other criminals, or are the victims innocent bystanders? And the reason why I ask this question is because there is a famous YouTuber that I am following. Her name is Dee Mwango, and she's out of Kenya. She recently moved to Jamaica 3 months ago by herself, single female. She travels all over the island. She has shown me parts of Jamaica that I've never seen in my life, and she has gone to some ghettos. And she says that she feels safe. She travels by herself. She has over 500,000 subscribers. And she said a lot of people are asking her, why would you come here? But she's never once felt threatened. She goes through ghettos with her camera out. And so I want to know, with these crimes, do I think crime is happening in Jamaica? Absolutely. That's we're not going to dispute that. But I want to know if a lot of the crimes that's occurring, is it drug dealer on drug dealer, gang member against gang member, or what is who are the victims here?
May I say this? I watched Dee Mongo, and she's a cute little African girl, and she knows how to get around.
Yes.
Very good what she get around, but she's not in danger because she's reached out to the population. They would never hurt her because it would be international. So Dee Mongo is a little bit different. She's totally different from the average Joe Blow or female that would enter Jamaica. So she's in a different category, and she's quite, and she's different. Let's put it that way, and she assimilates with the poor in Jamaica. So she has that little protection. Let me say also now, I do not look at whereas I look at it just like how my colleague Chris does. I look at it from and your assessment. I mean, the question is valid. What you ask, who are we against? But my question is, if we're fighting even one another for a particular thing, let's say it's money, let's say it's drugs, let's say that, it's still something that has happened in this society and has been happening for a very long time. So the question we have to ask ourselves is, who really is responsible? These guys have lived their lives like that. They have no other life. Okay? And so where did this come? Were they born as killers? Or was it, were they groomed? Are they products of their environment? You know what I mean? And if you're stuck in a situation and you have no defense, you'll find a defense. I've seen a lion it was a tiger attacking a buffalo, and the buffaloes came down and they gave that tiger. I think the tiger didn't get out of there. You understand me? And tigers traveling troops. So the point that I'm trying to make is this: it's how you treat it. It's how you look at it. What's the etiology? What's the history of it? And we have to, there are examples, of course, good examples. You may do it, I may do it, but the thing is that the average death in a population of 2.7 is worrying, right? And also the violence in schools. I've seen some stuff. No, I
Sorry, guys.
I must congratulate yourself and never stop doing that, because I think that's the essence of why we do not have why I do Martin can go, because she can get, she's a camera, she's what I mean, and she's from Kenya. Everybody wants to meet her.
I think Carla asked a good question, though, Dr. Francis, and I think she's waiting for a direct answer, which I'm gonna see if Chris could answer that, because it's a very great question. And let me tell you why. I remember in the 80s, yes, I was young, but the crime then was politically motivated. That's not the type of crime that we're having now. The crime been there for decades, but it was for the greater part up to the 80s. I don't remember it's been tied into the 90s. It may have, but I think it would be a small part. It would have been a small part of the 90s. That would before, and that's why I do not subscribe to the politician theory where people are saying that the politicians are bringing in these weapons. I remember when they used to do it. I remember when they used to do it back in the 80s when they used to fight the political war. And I think Chris and Dr. Francis could have remembered that. But the crime that is there right now, they are not politically motivated. So why would it benefit the politicians then?
No.
Bring in the weapon?
What evidence do you have that the politicians are not involved? What evidence?
I don't have an evidence, Dr. Francis, that that they are not involved. But I'm just trying to see how would it benefit the politician to partake in such act when the crimes are not politically motivated today.
Let's go back to the clip. The clip said the big man come and give a gun. The man come and say this man represent the big man, and he says also that, and say him have the thing and him have the money and what have you. Poor people can't what should I say, buy guns like that. Okay, the type of guns. So that somebody is funneling and fueling the funds. Now I'm not going to call and point anything on anybody unless I have the evidence. But it stands to reason that listen. Let Chris handle the rest of it. But I happen to believe that they are funded. And there are people out there that are funding those.
I think they're funded too, but I am saying that I think, and Carl and I had this conversation a few days ago. I honestly think they're funded by the scammers, because I mean they have friends and they buy the way here, and they have so much money in the US sometimes that they hard to get it out there. They can't get the money because most of the money that they're scamming is here in the US. They have to figure out a way how to get it. I think buying gun and selling down there would have been one of the way that they resale the gun to reclaim their money.
Right, but let me tell you something. I have a friend, and I think I've mentioned this before. I have a friend very big in the music industry. And he was sending down a Peloton bike, right? Got it to Jamaica. And because of who he was, do you know they didn't even, huge crate, out of Miami down to Kingston. They didn't even open it. We could have a whole cache of weapons in that box.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
It's been happening.
So my thing is this. They need the people at the wharf. They need to rotate those people out, because what is happening is if you go there with enough change to hand them, then they don't care what's in those boxes.
And that's why I'm saying I think that's where the weapon coming through. The guys over here, it's easy to get the weapons here. It's easy to get the weapons here. We know that, and that's why for a very long time, we were getting the weapons. I saw that over 20 years, almost 25 years ago, I saw a documentary on it where the weapons was coming from Haiti, and we did not know because the weapon was leaving here to Haiti.
Can I also? Dennis. 50 guns were brought into the country last week, and they were AK-47s, and they had armor-piercing.
Wow.
That means that it can, well, for those of you.
You mean rounds?
Yes.
Armor-piercing rounds.
Means that they can go to a tank, they can go to walls, they can go to anything, an engine. Why would? So I believe, I'm hoping that's not true. I'm hoping that's not true.
Sorry to interrupt you, but that leads me to my question. Since you mentioned that you open, it's not true. Because my question was, were those guns seized? Do we know for sure? And apparently, that's not the case. So, what are you saying? How do we know that these weapons entered the country?
We know because they were seen. They were seen, and they avoided the police and avoided the police on another occasion, and then they abandoned the boat. In point.
All right, all right, you have to forgive me, and I hate to have my investigator hat on, but when you said they were seen, the source of information is always somewhere where you should consider.
The source of information, from what I understand, I wasn't there, but from what I understand, that they were alerted by the U.S. Coast Guard or wherever they were alerted by, and the guys slipped through anyway, and they moved along and went to other locations. I can't give any more. But that's
no, and that's why I'm not asking for anything preparatory for you to reveal. No worries. But if nobody credible saw those weapons and ammunition with their own eyes, I mean, it lends.
And they didn't even give a number, 50.
Yeah, I mean,
somebody know
what? Just because the authorities in Jamaica receive information from the U.S. or whomsoever that a certain amount of weapons or whatever was coming to the country, and then they didn't see it, they saw a boat that alleged, they think, oh, that must have been a boat, we didn't check it, whatever. If nobody saw any weapons, how we know for sure really that any weapons really came? You know what I mean? Just asking.
No, the problem I have with that answer is this: we know that people are being killed every day in Jamaica
because it becomes a business. And I don't see, and that's what the angle that I want to look at, though, Dr. Francis, that it becomes a business. I cannot see how the politician involvement in that and how they would have what are they gaining from that? I just think that the time of
what are they gaining? What are they gaining?
Yeah, I don't know what the politician gained from having getting guns into the country. I remember, and I believe that it had happened in the 80s, but I just don't see the real benefit. No, in the 80s, there were political war and people were fighting against each other, right? But we have not had that in almost 30 years. We don't have that type of violence in Jamaica. They're not politically related anymore for at least 25 years.
Dennis, you said we have not had this type of violence. I am telling you that there's more violence now than before in many instances. Just go, do me a favor.
Political violence?
Hold on. No. Violence is violence. I am saying, take out your phone, look at the rate of violence in Jamaica, and whatever, and you'll see.
I can't agree with you if you're gonna say violence is violence. We need to find the source of the violence, and that's what we're trying to figure out here, Doctor.
Okay, that guy just had that journalist just came and did that interview, the video that we saw, right?
Right.
One, I still want to know, who are the victims? Are the criminals the victims? I want to know that. Two, I want to know, it wasn't like that video is all over the internet. You're telling me that they know that all of those weapons are in that area and they're doing absolutely nothing about it?
There you go. And you're answering your own question. I can answer for you.
I think the victims are innocent people that is going along their business, that the people, for whatever reason, robbery is one. One of the reasons for the weapon, if you ask me, robbery is one, and people are doing these contract
killings.
Yes,
I believe that.
And people are doing this because it's sad to say, and it's something that I hate to repeat, but the jealousy is on that island, and people will see you doing your thing. Back in our days, younger days, it used to be that they run go one man and one part. I think that they're taking that up again, doing it. Even though we know that cannot work, but them run go one man, go one part, and carry one chicken and carry one this and carry one that. We just get rid of people that are doing good with their lives. That's the type of that's the type of society that we
So,
live in.
Chris,
But
would
now
you-
they just take a shortcut and get it done different.
So, Chris, would
Yeah.
you think the majority of victims, would you think that the majority of those victims are involved in criminal activity themselves, or would you say that the majority of the victims are innocent people?
All right. So it's hard for me to answer that really without having any information on the statistics, and I don't. Right. I don't. But based on what I have read in the media, what has been reported, it doesn't seem so. It seems as if a lot of those victims are relatively innocent folks. Some people who are just, targeted, let's say, for
various reasons.
Pardon?
For various reasons.
Yeah, for
Targeted
various reasons, but
personal reasons and all that.
Robbery
Possibly.
is the motive.
But
Is robbery the motive?
a lot of times I believe so, yeah. And I think that the problem with that in Jamaica, you see them robbing on white collars, there's those armored trucks and so on, right? Obviously, there's a reason why they're robbing. They don't have the money, right? There's other people who have been robbed also for money. These folks who expats and so on. There's a couple of them here. There's some horrible things to people, elderly folks and people who are, very vulnerable. Children, for instance, you hear these reports of these children who are murdered, molested, and what have you. Those are the really terrible ones, right? Because there's nothing that they could have done to defend themselves, as opposed to somebody or folks who are involved in criminal activity and it's a rival gang retaliation or what have you for turf or whatever the case is, or to steal their goods. So back to your question though. Sorry to divert there, Carla. I think it's, without the stats, I don't know, but I would think that based on what I've heard in the media and has been reported, I would say that no, it's not other criminals that are the victims. You know what I'm saying? I think it's a lot of innocent people are the victims in these cases.
May I add something to what Chris has said? Listen, first of all, you have to watch that entire. I watched the 3 parts on that thing. The 3 parts, and when you watch the 3 parts, you know exactly where these guys are getting the guns from. Secondly, yes, there is gang warfare, and there's money about scamming and all that sort of thing, and people don't like people, as Dennis has said, and so on. There was a case in Trelawney whereby they could not catch this guy, and they went in and they killed the entire family. They've gone into a church and they've killed a bird. That's never happened before. Things have become so. What I don't want to scare anybody. I'm just simply saying that in order to get to the root of this, you have to actually get some of the facts, examine each case, a case by case basis, and then you can make a determination. Because what I would like to see is there is a problem with the way we treat people in Jamaica anymore. Like even in the schools, I've seen a young man, a boy about 7. He may have had that problem with a child in the school, one of his other schoolmates, and he was determined to hit her down with a stone. I sent you the video. Sorry I didn't send it to you. And I mean, even when the teacher was trying to block the way, the guy was so incensed. 7 years old and well dressed too in his uniform. And so I'm saying to you that where did he get that from? And you and I know that criminality is a biopsychosocial. Some people may be born of it, very, very few born criminals, but psychologically, in the home, the home, what is happening? That's why I tell you that what you guys are doing in terms of the school adoption is the recipe for changing these things, for making these things happen. And yes, there are a lot of murder for hire too, for reason. So, so it's a combination of the above. But to put politicians on a platform and say, pedals and say they don't, I think that's that's not correct. I know it's not.
I am still trying to find out what would be their benefit, though.
Power. Same as always, power. Okay, power corruption, absolute power corrupts, absolutely, Dennis. And the fact of the matter is, and some people don't believe that their pockets must be bigger than others, and they believe that they're going to be able to kick a U-Haul behind them when they die, to the grave. The fact of the matter is, right, that doesn't happen. Okay, so what I'm saying to you is that people with power who want power, and if you step in their way, they'll take you out. They have no code of conduct. Even the mafioso has a code of conduct. And some people don't. I'm telling you. Look around the world.
Did you get the answer to your question from all what they said, Chama?
I'm sorry?
Did you get the answer to the question?
I did. I'm hearing now that a lot of the victims, I thought it was like what happens here, besides the school shootings and the mass shootings that we have here in the United States. I thought a lot of the crime was were people who were also perpetrating crimes. You know what I mean? Because what I gathered from that clip is that not only is it murder for hire, but also you're on this on my turf, I'm gonna come after you. That's what I gathered from it because I saw the entire thing. You know what I mean? I did not realize that the majority, and I know that right now, really young girls are being targeted for sex crimes and stuff like that in Jamaica. I hear that that is on the rise. Very disturbing. But I'm really talking about the gun violence that's happening and this clip because you showed the clip. I truly believe that the majority of the criminals that were on in that clip is going after other criminals. I think it's very targeted.
In fact, they did say that.
They did say that.
They said that, right? He was talking about across the streets is another.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
They did say that.
Right.
They said it's a turf. Listen, turf. I mean, if you go down to, like, for example, when I used to go down to Tivoli and all of those places and so on, you have to be careful where you go and who you're going with. Okay?
Right.
Because they said that a road just divide them and they're mortal enemies. Okay? So that is one aspect of it. Okay? That's one
it's
aspect.
like the Hatfields and the McCoys.
Right.
It's a never-ending war. It's a never-ending war for what? Because this guy literally said, "Oh, I'm praying for my grandson," but you're out here committing all of these atrocious crimes and killing people for no reason. But it's not like the government don't know where this guy is. Why don't they go pick him up? He literally said he's a murderer.
Yeah.
I think for many reasons, though,
they're just going to let him stay out.
No, I think for many reasons, the Jamaica Cancellery Force it's been compromised in many aspects. We covered that a little bit last week and saying, because one I think we have to understand, we are from a classism society. And the thing that gets us into class is money. And this is my opinion. It's money that brings us to the class. And
well, they mentioned that as well on that.
But the police are not compensated adequately for the job that they're doing. And I said it to Dr. Francis some time ago that I believe if the police themselves are not able to start out when you enter the job to maintain a middle class lifestyle, right? Anything below that, they are in the lower class, they are not respected, and they are compromised by poverty.
Okay.
Unfortunately, that's only one of the evils involved with the police, right? Because I think I had mentioned before, they are not getting the support they need, folks, to do their jobs. Like I said, you trying to tell me, remember, they are on the front line, okay, dealing with criminals. They have to confront them literally to stop crime. It's their job, right? So you as a policeman should be and would be most concerned about your adversary, which is the criminals, which are the criminals, having high-powered weapons and this really destructive ammunition, right? Now, if you're in charge of that, you know, you would want to make sure that these things are off the street. You'd want to thoroughly investigate, you want to find him, you want to find out who's behind it, etc., and stop the flow of this sort of thing. And you know, and I'm pretty sure, without knowing for sure, I'm going to say, you know, there are good cops out there, man, in Jamaica that want to really do a good job and stop the crime and do their job,
Right.
do what they're supposed to do.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, they don't have the support and the backing and the resources and what have you to get their jobs done. It has to be frustrating. It has to be frustrating. In fact, what I'd love to do, and you know, maybe you can consider this at some point in time, interview some of these guys. They may want to be interviewed
Off camera.
yeah, off camera, anonymously, what have you. But ask these frontline guys on
I could dig
great
more
to hear
into that.
their view. Let's hear their
Yeah.
view.
Well, you know, I just want to thank you for that. You know, but let me say also, you know, if you are a father in a home or a mother, and your child goes rogue, whose fault is it really? I mean, most of the times is it the child's fault or is it the family, the parents' fault?
That's a complex. There's a complex answer to that very complex question.
Yes.
I know that, but
Because I've seen households where they're raised with same mother, father, same whatever, and then one kid just decides they're gonna find bad company, and that's what they're gonna do.
And one does the right thing.
But you see that what I'm trying to get at here is that if you have the right, I mean, not all of them are gonna come out good, right? Not all of them, right? Maybe wonderful, but if you have leadership, good leadership, okay, anywhere, within the military, the army, whatever, you have honest, straightforward leadership in the country, politicians, you will find less of these things. There are examples throughout the world, you know.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that, Dr. Francis. And you know why I don't agree with that necessarily? It's because think about this. When I started in law enforcement back in the early 90s, I could probably count on my hand how many people I'm going to encounter with a weapon, right? You know why I left law enforcement early? Because by the time I left, our gun laws are so loose, every nut has a gun. And I not only do they have guns, but they're crazy. So we have look at all the mass shootings back then compared to now. It's like every other day we hear of another mass shooting. They talk about Chicago being the worst and this, that, and the other, but think about all of the mass shootings that we have had over the last 10 years. Now it's like, oh yeah, it's like, you know, somebody scraped their knee.
Okay. You know what that tells me when you said that is that the issues that we're dealing with Jamaica is not really unique to Jamaica.
It's not.
No.
It's
But
not.
the big difference is that the persecution rate is significantly higher here than Jamaica. In Jamaica, it's very, very, very. You'll be lucky if you get 10% of the crime that commit in Jamaica. If you get 10% of them solved.
So yeah.
Because
that's the problem.
They have a code that says informer for dead. Informer for dead. And they mean it.
That's just one part of it, Doc. Come on now, man.
Part of it.
There are many layers. There are many layers to it,
Many.
Dr. Francis. Dr. Francis, let me tell you something. Look at how Jamaica set up. It's not hard for a person to commit a crime undetected.
And what?
It's not hard. It's not hard for a person to commit a crime and get away with it in Jamaica. You can hide a one bush.
Very easy. Very easy.
It's very, very easy. So we need, when we're talking about even the prosecution rate, right? The informer for dead thingy is not the only way. There are just many ways.
No, I'm not saying only. I didn't say only.
I know you're not saying only. But that's a part of it, a very small part of it too.
Look, let me say, I understand. But let me say this to you. When you look at the evidence out there, Jamaica has 2.7 million people. And contrary to popular belief, United States has mass murders, which I don't enjoy and I don't like. And Jamaica has not had any mass murder like But
they just shot 5 at a gospel event over the weekend.
well, no, that is a difference I've seen over the years where people would go into church and kill somebody. That never used to happen in Jamaica. But let me go forward.
That's a whole different topic, doing it, because
Whole different topic. But let me say
the religious belief and decline and challenge.
But let me say this to you. I want to say this one to you. And you have only 6% of the killings in the United States, 340 million people. Go look at it. And you have 52% of the population in Jamaica, out of 100,000. Now, what does that tell you? I mean, you know, the fact of the matter is that when you and I were growing up, I mean, you kind of much younger than me, most of you, but the point I'm trying to make is we never had that type of attitude to each other. Do you know what I mean? And we never used to, you know, we had a thing that said Sefe. It was called Sefe. Because Sefe, I don't know if Chris could remember that. If you ever Sefe, the man will joke you that pencil or whatever. You understand me? But they never killed you. They never did that. Right now, if you cut your eye, if a girl doesn't talk to a guy, I mean, for simple reasons. That's one attitude that
I mentioned.
That's because they're not happy and they're very frustrated. I tell you, that is a result of people just being upset and very angry with their situation.
So you think it's a rebellious action?
Yeah, man. I mean,
that's one of the layer. That's one of the layer too. That's one of the layer. You have to understand too that we are coming. At that time, Dr. Francis was talking about, and we mentioned this last week. It was the days of when the community used to run, used to raise the kids. Now this is a whole different time, and we have a certain type of music that we are releasing in Jamaica that glorifies all that behavior too. So there is so many layers of issues that contribute to this problem. You just have to start peel them off one because you cannot ignore the impact of the music.
Yeah, but yes, we know. But let me say this: any building you're building, you have to start it or assessment from the ground level up, right? You have to start. You have to look at the factors, and all I'm trying to say to you is this: that the Jamaica that I know and love, the Jamaicans that I knew and still know, as they're right there on the beach and all that. Some of them are still fishermen. I mean, they grew up and they never did that sort of thing. Now, what has changed? And first of all, we know about early childhood education. There is none, so there's no assistance there. But at the same time, what has made them so angry? Apart from the fact that their lives are miserable, and the evidence.
Isn't that enough?
Did you just say apart from the fact that their lives are miserable?
No, isn't that enough?
Exactly. When a person's back up is up against the wall.
Hold on. Look at the factors. And I encourage you once more to go. I'll send it to you and read the analysis, empirical evidence from Herbert Grail, the guy who assessed it all throughout the Caribbean and made complete difference. And you will see exactly how it developed. We're not speculating now. We're not thinking that it's, we are seeing what is happening. And then you will see. And the guy said it on the clip. The guys, if you listen very carefully as to why they are where they are. Understand
Dr. Francis, what opportunities do these young guys have? What opportunities do they truly have?
No, you're asking a rhetorical question because here's the situation. Who creates the opportunity? The government has to create the opportunity, right? Whoever is in charge. And if they do not create the opportunity, what's going to happen is going to happen. Okay? So please do not understand. The police is a servant of the government. Okay? The government is in charge. And we have to say, if you're in charge and you're the leader, you must lead. Don't take away the responsibility from them. They must lead because that's why they went up there for leadership. We're not their servants. They are they're supposed to be servant leaders. That's my philosophy. And I'm just gonna hold at that one. Right? So you need to
I just think like I mentioned before, there's just many layers of issues, and we're just peeling them off one. But there's just not. This is not a one-size-fits-all situation where we could come up with an answer that would have fixed everything. There's just so many aspects of it. You have to understand too. I grew up in a Jamaica where before cable TV and satellite dish, before America started to impose whatever they have, whether it's culture or advertising or the glamour, right? Before that, before we start seeing that, I remember, Chris, when a man would try to break into a car and he spent the whole night trying to take out that rubber to get out the windshield, to get in the car. Since cable TV and satellite dish, I'm telling you, Charmer, right? The man no wait that long and take a stone and throw it at the glass and break it. We never thought of that before. You understand? So we have to think about the interference of other countries, of other cultures. Right? So that's what I'm saying when I said the impact of modern technology, because we embrace it, but we are not prepared to deal with the consequence that comes with it.
So agreed. So that's one of the many things. That's why I said it was complex, right? That's one of the influences, foreign influences, if you will, by the media, by like it's a cable TV and what have you. And if you notice, a lot of Jamaican criminals would even emulate the criminal activity names
in movies and
from
and what
movies.
happens here.
Them call themselves different things, I can't go through some of the names now, as you know, and even places in the ghetto which they consider war zones because they're fighting, you know what them call them, right? Gaza and this and that and that and that. And some of the folks that even take on those names themselves, right? So what are they doing? Yes, really what you just said. There's the influence from the media and from negative influences from foreign intervention and so on.
Yes, definitely. Big issue. And don't forget that the glorified dead too, The glorified dead. Don't forget that when a man dead and the bashment that goes along, they look forward to those things in certain community, I was listening to a conversation last night and it just blew my mind, but I don't want to get into it and spill anything. But the glorified dead.
Yes, but you know something? We have lost our belief in God Almighty.
Yes,
and
sir.
I'm not a pastor like you two, or Chris, but I am telling you, the moral compass is so low and so decadent.
Yes.
Understand me? So we have lost the moral compass.
Yes.
And I tell you something, we need a balm in Gilead.
Yes.
And to get that balm in Gilead, you could talk until you're deaf, you talk until you're dumb, it don't matter. The fact of the matter is that there are people out there who you think are circumspect, but they're not. They would kill you in a flash. Okay? And so therefore, what we have to do is we have to, as a diaspora, I'm speaking to the diaspora now, we have to come together, we have to work together, and we have to see how best we can work with our country. I just recently did something, which I think you guys may be aware of soon, that, and hoping that my partners, the persons with me, will recognize that we have a part in playing to assist in moving Jamaica forward. And the problem is, it is out there. I mean, and we cannot blame the young people. We cannot blame, we have to blame, we took government in 1962. At that time, we had money in our coffers, not much, but our dollar was stronger than the US dollar and the pound. In 1968, when I went to military school, I couldn't believe how much money I was getting for my money, right? And know what? We are 150 to 1 going 160. Are you kidding me? Right? Come on. Where so many people get, so therefore, I'm going to ease up now. Haul and pull up, they call it. I'm going to haul and pull up, and I'm going to say to you, please, when we need to look at the causation, the etiology of everything, and then we will see. There, but for the grace of God goes I. Anyway, that's it.
Okay, so I'm playing devil's advocate here.
Yes.
If the law enforcement on the ground, their hands are tied and they're not able to effectively do their jobs, what are we going to do?
Well,
I just thought about that. What would have been our effective approach? What would be our effective approach?
Hold on, Dennis, let me answer. And I know both of you have the same question, so I'm going to answer you. We have a responsibility. All of us have a responsibility. Stop pointing the fingers and let's sit down and see if we can get everybody around the table and figure out how we can resolve the issue. Some people believe it cannot be done. I am one of those who believe it can be done. Okay?
I hear you, Dr. Francis, but let me tell you something. It's like today I was having a discussion with someone, and they were talking about the obesity rate in the United States. They were talking about this, they were talking about that. And I said, do you know, if the United States government would just take high fructose corn syrup out of every food, ban it, do you know the diabetes rate would plummet? They don't want to. They don't want to. It's not that they can't. It's not that we cannot heal, but it's beneficial for them to make people sick.
But Carla,
beneficial for them to have people with weapons in their community.
Well, Carla, let me ask you a question. I'm going to ask you guys a question. Who says you have to eat it? I myself, I'm one of those obese kind of people you kind of call it, right? I decided that I was going to come off my diet, and I paid, and I now have to go back and try to look like Chris. You understand what I'm saying? The fact of the matter is, I did that to myself. Why are we blaming other people?
But
they
Dr.
put out, we don't have to eat
everything.
it.
It's in everything.
No, not in everything, dear heart.
Yes,
not
it is.
Everything.
High fructose corn syrup is pretty much in everything. Read labels.
Listen to me. No, but is it in bananas? I mean, I'm not talking about red banana. I'm talking about green bananas. I'm talking about yam. I'm talking about we must eat flour too. All them big flour and them dumpling and all that sort of stuff. We have to. Listen to me. I used to pray. Look at my pictures. Because I was from Margaret, them called me, and I used to pray. And see what happened. I pray too much.
Doc, you know that the foods you mentioned oftentimes are inexpensive and the cheap food that is not so good for you. I know you're not referring to the yam and banana and so on, which are good food, which is naturally grown and so on. But a lot of these high fructose containing products are cheap. You know what I mean? So you gotta keep in mind that. So people who can't really afford, higher quality food are left with the inexpensive food, which I'm not saying all the time, but oftentimes is not as healthy for you.
Well, we're gonna wrap up pretty soon
an example.
Here. But we're gonna wrap up pretty soon here. But what the charmer is saying is that let me just sum it up, and if I'm right, you tell me if I'm wrong. You're saying there's somebody that is benefiting from this crime that is taking place on the island. So it is encouraged by who benefits from it. That's what you're saying, Cham.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And the reason why I know that for certain is that I know there's a certain part. If there was in Runaway Bay, there was a particular person that was in Runaway Bay and that was selling drugs. And then what would happen? And the government, certain people would come and give him the drugs to sell. And then when he sell the drugs, give me everything. If he wasn't given enough back, then he would get arrested, and it's a vicious cycle. So what I'm saying is this: if the head is rotten, if the head is rotten, and even if law enforcement, when I was working corrections, if we had one corrupt correctional officer come in, it tarnishes all of us.
Yep.
We lose control. So what I'm saying is this, and I've said this to you before, Dennis, when it comes to it, and it doesn't matter in whatever segment of society it is, if the head is rotten, if law enforcement is rotten, you're not going to get my support. if the politicians are rotten, you're not going to get support.
So the question is, what would be the effective approach? Because
I
I
don't
want
know.
to wrap this up. What
I
would be
don't
the
know.
effective approach to, if we should come together and try to dissect the issue, come up with a diagnosis with the level of corruption that the chairman just described, and I can see in Dr. Francis' action that he sanctioned it. I am not on the board. Let me just let you guys know. I'm not totally there with you guys with that. But if so be the case, what can be done and what would be the approach? That is a question for Dr. Francis.
Well, I've been trying to say this day one, that it takes two to tango. It takes all of us to come together, and we need to, what call it now, brainstorm, and
Mm-hmm.
we need to find out the best methodology and the way for, and we have to be fair and honest and true. If you have, as Carla said before, I mean, the head of the stream doesn't work, and I'm not necessarily pointing out any fingers at anybody right now. I'm just simply saying, if the person who's leading you anywhere, the school, whatever, and they're not being straightforward. For example, if you're not spending the money on the roads and you're not spending on it right now, let me give you an example. The Jamaica Public Service, if you have your bill is about 50% of your expenditure on a monthly basis. Where? Why? And this is owned by a foreigner. I have no problem
The
with
what?
foreigners.
What was that?
The Jamaica Public Service.
Okay.
The light.
So, yes, and that's a major part of their expenditure. So that is hardship on the people. So my view is we have to come together and to get the things straightened so that the people of the country can benefit. I believe that if the young people were brought into schools and they can benefit, and the young people
Opportunity.
can benefit, then yes, as a comment, then you will find that the crime would be reduced. That's
All
my
right.
honest belief.
So
All right,
what we should be doing.
wait, Carla. So that is Dr. Francis' final thought, because time is well spent. What are you saying? Go ahead. Is that a
I want
question or a
then
statement?
if that's the case, we need to target young kids and see how we can come up with ideas to give them opportunities, whether it is with I don't know. Right now, I'm working we're working with Dean to see how we can
Basically,
find
educate them out of crime
find mentors, find opportunities for
and
them to.
educate them
We
out of
have to
crime.
give them an opportunity, some sort of an opportunity. If not, they're going to go to the bad side. Chris.
So are we saying this lack of opportunity that is the driving force behind this, or
Of
somebody
course it is.
benefiting from this?
That's
What
a
are
part
we
It's a
of it.
saying?
lack of opportunities.
That's
Lack
just
of
a part of it.
Go ahead, Chris. What did you
I'm saying
say?
that's one part of it. Everything you've all mentioned, all of you, are relevant, and contribute to what's going on. Everything, but they are just parts, right? So, if you will, I'll give you my parting statements.
Yes. Go
So,
ahead.
the authoritative body to get things done, and their responsibility, mind you, right, is the government of Jamaica, right? What I say concerning reduction of crime and to manage the crime situation, as I had said before, and you've all mentioned different parts of it, it's very complex, okay, and has to be attacked from different ways, different means, different angles, all at the same time. That's not easy to do. What I think the Jamaican people need to do, and the diaspora as well, or those interested in helping Jamaica, should continue to appeal to and pressure the government authorities to prioritize reducing crime.
Mm.
You hear what I said? Prioritize it, please. Not just an SOE here and there. The state of emergency helps in a temporary way. It restricts the freedoms of the people. The innocent suffer a lot as well too. Okay, from these SOEs. They don't really work. They're very temporary. All right, it's fluff to say, hey, we're doing something. Come on, we need a better approach. Keep these politicians and the government, whichever is in power, totally unbiased here. I don't care who it is, accountable. Make them accountable. It is their job.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Totally.
I honestly think that, in my opinion, is because I am still sold by the fact that we are indeed a classism society, and everybody is being measured and treated according to their class and category in Jamaica, and I guess you guys would agree to that. A police that uphold the law I should enforce the law, which is so highly compromised by his financial status that keeps him in the lower class. I cannot see how effective he can be in fighting a crime, right? Are enforcing a law against a person that is going to get a ride home later, a person that I'm going to have to probably see at a party and even ask for a drink in order to drink. The police, the police and the civil servant of Jamaica need to be better compensated so that whenever time they start out and carrying out their duty, they are at least in the middle class and they can work effectively. Let me tell you something. In Jamaica right now, if you see one of them man, the scammer, stand up against a policeman, the little young boy and girls, they are gonna give the scammer all the respect over the policeman. I can tell you that because it's money that talk in that country.
Well, money talks everywhere. Let's be fair.
No, it talks everywhere, but I think it's more pronounced in a small island
True,
like
true.
Jamaica.
Jamaica's size is the issue. It's a good and bad, right? It's a lot of problems plague Jamaica because of its size, but also the solution to some of these problems are easier because Jamaica is small. It works both ways. And what you mentioned too, I agree with you. Police compensation for their jobs obviously needs to be increased tremendously, but that is just one of the issues.
Again,
one part of it, right? Okay.
But I mean, even though it's one, I think it's one that we have to start with because we have to encourage it.
Watch me now, Dennis. Watch me now. Who gonna pay them? Me and you, the diaspora? No, the government pays them. Once again, I keep saying they are the ones that they need to prioritize, hold them accountable to prioritizing solving crime.
Leadership.
Right.
Leadership,
So how do we convince people who are self-serving and don't care about no one but
fellow
themselves?
life? Yeah.
Right. They really could care less.
You know, I just want to say to you, we cannot solve these issues in an hour or what have you. It's not an overnight thing. It takes time. It takes time, investigation and planning. I mean, in order to get things right. Okay, and we're not going to get it the first time. We're not the second time. We just have to prepare and plan for it. Once we prepare and plan with the right type, we will get somewhere. Guys, I just spoke to you. You told me about what you're doing, and you have seen the growth in the short time that you're doing it. So therefore, all you have to do is to keep on planting, keep on pruning, and it will work out in it. It's not an overnight thing.
I would like to see if there's another country or island that has the same issues that's plaguing Jamaica. See if they have right that ship and see if we can do the same. There must be some other island that has gone through the same what Jamaica
are going through it. I think that's a very that's a very important one for me to investigate. I will talk to people from other islands and hear what they're dealing with, because that comparison would have make a lot of sense. Because the reason why it makes so much sense to me is that I would have touched too and the what the contribution of our culture towards crime and violence. I think that in itself have another layer. So you see, that's another.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
And
another part.
remember, we can't change what we don't acknowledge.
Right.
So
Yeah.
even if we can't change what, if a person is just determined to not change, it doesn't matter what we do.
Yes.
It doesn't matter what we do. And again, we cannot impose on someone a change that they don't want. We can't. It's like giving somebody a gift. I didn't ask you for a gift. I don't want it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And
Good
it might
point.
be working for them. The 1% at the head, if this is working for them and they're good, they don't care. They don't want a solution.
All right.
Well.
Point well taken. We came here this evening to spend half an hour, but you see how easy it takes us to go 40 minutes over the half an hour that it takes, because these are important issues and these are things that we need to talk about. And when we get into it, it usually takes a lot of time to deal with. Well, the time goes so fast. When you get into it, you don't even realize.
You're right, Dennis. And it's such a topic that's near and dear to the heart, and it invokes a lot of passion, right? And that is why we speak the way we speak about it. You know what I mean?
Yes, definitely. I'm just looking forward that we could come back and touch some other things. Happy New Year to you all when it comes, and it was indeed a great conversation. Guys, just like and share the chat, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel, and even encourage your family and friends to be a part of our Facebook pages. Gil, blessings. Oh, Gil has been with us all night. Blessings, Gil. Thank you for being a part of our discussion. Blessings. You guys take care. Thank you.
Take care.
Looking forward to it again.
Happy New Year.
All right.
Enjoy.
Happy New Year to you all.
Happy New Year.
Bye.
All right.
Bye-bye.
One